Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Nonsense Retrospective. Joining me as always is Devon.
Hello, I can't think of a Dragon Age quote.
And as always, I'm Rick. We will be your guide on this quest. Before we get into the meat of things, we're going to go with our time-honoured tradition of nonsense, asinine hypotheticals.
My question is thus. You have to form an adventuring party. You take the role of you need a warrior, you need a thief or rogue, and you need a magic man. Who fills what slot?
The Rock is the warrior.
Okay. See, I would have gone for someone like Aragorn, but sure.
Yeah. He's going to deal double duty as actually bringing people's spirits up a little bit.
Do you mean literally drain the Rock Johnson?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be that helpful, bro.
Sure, but it'd be a fun show to watch.
No, this isn't a show. You're going on a quest with these dudes.
Yeah, we're going on a quest, but it's probably going to be filmed.
No. This is an epic quest for you to achieve some sort of goal. This isn't for entertainment value. What are we, a podcast?
An epic quest in which we have to achieve something.
Let's say you're on a quest to slay 3 dragons. They all live on top of the same hilltop, so it's quite difficult.
When entertainment is out of the mix, you end up with just picking some really boring ones.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what I want. If I had the question, my warrior would be probably Boromir, actually, because I think he's a better fighter than Aragorn, but
Yeah. The only reason he dies is because he gets shot a lot.
Dude, my favourite thing is in the book, the line goes something along the lines of, takes a single arrow to kill a man. Boromir was pierced by many. How badass is that?
He wasn't dying when he was killed. So, for my warrior, I probably would actually pick Urdnot Rex.
Okay, so you're going for a guy with a gun.
Yeah. Even without a gun, he's incredibly resourceful, because even though he looks like a big brute, he's also very smart and will be able to do killy things with things that you might not think are killy.
I get it. I've played Mass Effect. Krogans are good at one thing.
Yeah. You point them in a direction and that thing falls down.
And hopefully they don't decide they want to take your shit afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, for the purposes of this question, everyone is loyal to you. So even if you picked Sauron, which don't pick Sauron, he's on your side for the purpose of the quest.
Yeah. The Mage is a bit of a weird one, where I probably would just pick Gandalf, because he's the most powerful mage that people know about in Middle-earth in the modern times.
Do you go for grey or do you go for white?
I'd probably go for grey because he's more fun. Again, I think this party needs a heart more than it needs muscle, because we've already got Rex.
If you had Gandalf the Grey with you, every single time you sit around the campfire, you'd be smoking fucking old Toby.
Yeah. I think Rex would be down for that as well.
Assuming his regeneration powers didn't completely nullify it. Those aliens drink a liquid that, just by having a drop, will kill a human.
Yeah.
That leaves the rogue/thief.
My rogue, I think I'm going to go for Natasha Romanoff.
Okay, Black Widow herself.
Yeah, because she pulls double duty as a backup fighter, as most good rogues should. And she's very good at getting into places where she wants to be.
This is true, although I don't know how useful she'll be if you have to go through a cave system, but then again, you got Gandalf, so that's kind of covered.
So yeah, if we need to deal with security, then we got her.
It would be very weird if modern-day security was protecting these 3 mighty dragons.
So yeah, my party, alongside myself, who I guess I am the tactician, is Urdnot Rex, Gandalf the Grey, and Natasha Romanoff. How's that for a damn nerd sentence?
You certainly thought more outside the box than I thought you would, so fucking kudos.
So, my one for you, 60s and 70s campy TV series. Do you have a favourite one that you would like to see get revisited in the modern day?
I don't know, was Wacky Races about back then?
I think so, yeah.
If they could do something with Wacky Races, I'd love to see that make a comeback. Even just taking the name and using an entirely different cast of characters, as long as they had Dick Dastardly and Muttley, it would work.
Oh, they did a pilot for it that never took off. The Dick Dastardly in that was explicitly like the grandson of the original Dick Dastardly.
Wasn't this a Scooby-Doo thing?
No, that wasn't the Scoob movie. This was an actual, separate pilot for a Wacky Races reboot. And Dick Dastardly Sr. just says to Dick Dastardly Jr., just drive the car and win. Don't bother about cheating. I did that for 53 years and I never won. Just drive the car and win.
I actually fucking really appreciate that, because one of the things that used to bug me as a fucking kid was I'd watch the show and Dick Dastardly would be miles in front, but he stays back to set a trap, and I'm like, motherfucker, you're in first place, just keep going.
Yeah.
You've also got to remember, he doesn't really cheat that hard, because if you look at the other Wacky Racers, they fucking fling weapons and shit at each other as well.
Yeah. The Professor is just as bad as Dick Dastardly at basically Mario Karting the rest of the party.
Well, all of them, man. I think Penelope Pitstop's machines are literally just to counter other people's machines / make herself look pretty.
Yeah.
Percy Perfect with his dick-shaped automobile, I think he doesn't actually actively sabotage people. I think he literally just thinks it's a straight-up race. But,
yeah,
everyone else is a dick. There's one person whose entire front of his car, I forget what his name is, but his gimmick is he's a lumberjack with a pet beaver, and the front of his car will just completely mince your car into dust. Shit's illegal as fuck. Could you imagine if fucking Lewis Hamilton had to race these pricks?
Yep.
That's a gold mine. Right, fuck it. Fantasy booking. You know how Scooby-Doo does a bunch of crossovers with celebrities to try and stay relevant?
Yeah.
Fucking do a fucking hour-and-a-half long movie, Wacky Races, have Lewis Hamilton, some prick from NASCAR, and someone from rally racing, have them three turn up to the Wacky Races, and everyone else is doing goofy shit around them while they just race.
So they're basically having a 3-player Space Jam of Wacky Races.
Fuck it. Book it. Hanna-Barbera, get on that shit.
I'm here for it.
If I had the money, I'd bankroll that shit.
Yeah.
I think we've been sidetracked for long enough. Rick, what are we doing today?
Today we're having a wistful and reverent look at the history of Dragon Age. We're going to start with Dragon Age Origins, and we're going to also start with our previous experience. So I came into the series mostly at the start. Awakening was already out, so after playing other BioWare RPGs like Neverwinter Nights and Knights of the Old Republic 1. So yeah, they made Dragon Age after they essentially lost the license to D&D.
Yeah, Games Workshop, fucking take note. If someone's not doing something you like with your franchise, don't give them your fucking franchise.
They weren't even doing things badly, it's just that they wanted to give the license to someone else and let someone else have a go.
Yeah, Star Wars, take note. Don't give a company a monopoly on your franchise. There's lots of people with lots of good ideas. Be a bit of a whore.
But yeah, how about you? What was your initial and previous experience of Dragon Age?
It's very weird, actually, because I played this in a very weird order, because I actually played Mass Effect 2 first, and I looked through the complete armor sets, and there was an armor set that said Blood Dragon armor, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then I looked it up, and I went, Dragon Age? What the fuck is that? Oh my god, it's a big old fucking RPG set in a medieval fantasy land. I've got to play that.
Yep. As we said, the license that BioWare had for D&D expired, so they made their own fantasy RPG series. Contrary to the name, dragons themselves are actually rather rare. The titular ages are marked by an event at the start of them, the most recent being, well, someone saw a dragon. The other age that matters is the Divine Age. That's the one that has most of the lore happening. There's a bunch of ages in between that don't really matter.
Yeah, I thought the Dragon Age was named because dragons were appearing more frequently, not so much that someone saw a dragon once.
Yeah. I think they were assumed to be extinct, and as soon as someone saw one, they were like, oh shit, a dragon! And then they started appearing again, and they're like, oh, okay, dragons are not extinct.
Right, if I recall correctly, in Dragon Age Origins, you fight precisely one dragon, maybe two if you do a certain side quest the wrong way.
Not even the wrong way, like doing it the right way, you gotta fight that thing.
But I don't like murdering that person. I don't think they deserve it.
Are we thinking of the same side quest?
I'm thinking of Flemeth. What are you thinking of?
Oh, okay, there's 3 dragons then.
Okay, we've got Flemeth, we've got the dragon at the top of the hill with the cult. What's the third one?
The Archdemon.
I don't count that as a dragon, motherfucker!
I mean, it's fucking shaped like one.
I get it, but it's not a dragon, is it? It's a darkspawn.
Yeah.
I'm right, fuck you!
It's a god sleeping in dragon form that gets infected by darkspawn taint and gets stuck in dragon form.
Man, speaking of dragons, I really like the hint. Do you remember the hint screen for fighting a dragon? It said, plan your assault accordingly. Make use of flanking attacks and surprise attacks. Don't worry, everyone will forget your failed head-on assault towards a dragon. It's not even that good of advice, really, because, hey, guess what? There's no real option to surprise attack people in this game.
No. The only surprise attack is when enemies do it on you.
Yeah, but even then, there's no special effects they get for that. I think there's one attack really late game where you're all in your skivvies, so you don't have armor on. That's a bit of a shit, but it's also against fucking really jobber-level darkspawn, so it don't matter.
So, the world is Thedas, which was originally an acronym for the Dragon Age setting. Cautionary tale to anyone writing anything, don't make your placeholder name something you can actually use, because it will stick.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that, though. Thedas is a good fucking name.
Yeah. Unless you know that it is just the Dragon Age setting.
I was blissfully ignorant, Rick, and then you decided to fucking ruin it.
Yeah. I lifted the curtain on your ignorance. We begin the first game uniquely as a semi-existing person in the world. You have your blank slate, but the slate is from place that exists. Your tutorial and starting zone is based on your origin.
Rick, I have to ask you, what was your first origin?
My first origin was a Tower Mage.
Okay. I'd argue that that's probably not the most fun first one to do.
Oh, it's definitely not the most fun. You've got to go through the fade and do fade bullshit, and it's crap. But once you get out of that, you've got a very powerful character for one level until you realise, oh yeah, things can kill you.
I get you, man. I was going to ask what class you were, but obviously if you pick the Tower Mage, you have to be a Tower Mage. I myself picked the Dwarven Commoner, and I was a warrior because it made sense, because I was a dwarf, and I didn't dig a hole. I like both dwarves' backstories in that game very much.
Oh, actually, tell a lie. The Tower Mage was the first file that I played properly, but actually the first origin that I did was the Dwarf Noble.
How straight did you play it? Did you play it like an actual Dwarf Noble, or did you play it like other people were like, no, I'm a good guy?
Okay, so I was a Dwarf Noble rogue, so I played it like a rogue.
No, but I mean, when you had character interactions at the beginning, did you do stuff like, I forget the dude's name, I think it was Goric or something. It was like, Goric, why is this person talking to me?
I was a good noble, not an asshole noble.
I think if you're a proper arsehole noble, you should have been able to see through Balin's bullshit.
Yeah, if you're a proper arsehole noble, you deserve everything that comes to you.
Dude, the thing that got me the most was, your character isn't stupid when he's the noble. He knows that everyone's playing games, because that's what dwarves do. It's what any noble does in any fucking setting, but you know, you don't even have an option to be even a tiny bit suspicious of Balin. It's fucking stupid to me.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mean you should be able to catch him, but, you know, there should be, like, at least a few seeds being sown. Just like, you know what, Balin's being a bit too nice.
Yeah. When I went back and replayed them, I think the favourite one is the Human Noble.
I think it certainly seems more relevant to the plot overall if you're the Human Noble.
Yeah, because your starting zone becomes an end zone for pretty much most of the plot. When the plot comes to a head, Castle High Ever is one of the last places you get to.
You also get to meet a late-game villain super early.
Yeah, Tim Curry.
Dude, he hams it up so well.
It's great.
By the way, we're going to spoil everything. I also appreciate when you kill that character, he's not even remotely remorseful. His dying words are, I deserved more.
But yeah, we touched on it. You get a Human Noble, a Dwarf Noble, a Dalish Elf, a City Elf, a Castless Dwarf, and a Circle Mage.
Yeah, man, the caste system's fucking stupid, and I hate it.
Yeah, if you can trace your lineage back to someone who mattered, then you matter. If you can't, then you're in dwarf society.
There is absolutely no way to elevate yourself. You've got a chance if you're a woman, and it involves selling your body, so it's not exactly a great fucking system.
I think people can essentially win the equivalent of a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, but guess what? If you're a fucking casteless, it's almost impossible to fucking do that.
Yeah, you don't have the funding for it.
You don't have the funding, you don't have the tech. Your education is based on, is your family in the know with a good thug family? Guess what? You might get taught something by the thugs, but that lessons are going to be more thuggery, and therefore perpetuating the cycle.
Oh yeah, the rest of the characters are British and the dwarves are American.
Yeah, it would be okay if they decided to stick to their guns on that, but they don't.
But yeah, at the end of your origin story, you're usually in deep shit, and friendly NPC Duncan recruits you to the Grey Wardens to get you out of it.
I'm trying to think, actually. I think, yeah, none of the stories end with you in a good position, unless you grassed your mate up in the tower, in which case, technically, you've done nothing wrong, so you could stay, but you're probably gonna get silenced if you do.
Yep, but then again, exiting the tower is normally people's entire goal in the tower, and being conscripted to live outside is probably an attractive golden ticket. So, Grey Wardens, they're effective against Darkspawn, goofily named orcs of the setting, because their blood is incredibly toxic, and one speck of it can kill a healthy person, but the Grey Wardens are immune because they've already vaccinated with it.
Dude, that is all it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Even then, sometimes the vaccine doesn't take, and the pint of player character club juice is lethal to some, and a formality to others. We see this in Origins and Awakening. The Wardens have been recruited to help fight the Darkspawn, because Darkspawn, the king is a goof, thinks this is brilliant, and Uncle Stakar thinks this is a waste of time. He betrays everyone on the battlefield and throws the Warden under the bus for the death of the king.
Now, here's the thing I actually appreciate. It's a trope in a lot of medieval sort of fantasy settings, but I love it nonetheless. And that is the pinnacle good character is wrong. The pinnacle evil character is also very wrong. But if you took both of them and toned down their views, you get something that is actually more along the lines of how you should be thinking. I'm doing weird hand gestures that no one can see.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those. Marek wasn't a bad guy. He was just an idiot.
Marek? Do you mean Kaelin?
Oh, yeah.
Marek's the whole reason Loghain is even in a high position, because Marek was common as shit, right? No, sorry, Loghain was common as shit.
Yeah, Loghain was common as shit. Marek was a noble, but back when Ferelden was a vassal state.
Yep, that's it, and they led the rebellion, and they got Ferelden its freedom.
Yeah.
That's why Loghain is kept in such high esteem. Even when he's proven to be a dick, it's just like, yeah, but it's Loghain. He fucking freed the country.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be much of a game if it ended with the death of the king and the death of all the Grey Wardens, because that would include you, so you're the exceptions. You start out with Warden Lieutenant Alistair, who's so aggressively beta, he forces you to be the leader even though you joined literally today, and Claudia Blackman, played by Claudia Blackman, and they hate each other, and the party banter is glorious.
I absolutely love the fact that Morrigan calls her out on that shit straight away.
Yeah. Aren't you the most senior warden here? And he's like, yes.
But also, depending on your origin story, there's a very good chance that even though you've joined the Grey Wardens later, you've got more leadership experience.
Yeah. Both of the nobles have definite leadership experience.
I'd even go so far as saying the Castless Dwarf and the Dalish Elf have also got some, which is more than Alistair, because Alistair's always followed someone else.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, even the City Elf has the fucking wherewithal to lead an attack on the keep to save the elf women.
Yeah, it's probably the least impactful because this sect of people are going to be oppressed anyway, and you're a bit of a shaggy dog story at the best of times, but still, it's a pretty good opening to the game and showing you how much of a shithole it is.
Dude, do you want to know what the actual line in the entire game that creeps me out the most?
Go ahead.
There's a line where I believe they've just killed one, maybe more of the elf women, and you overhear a guard saying, well, it's not too bad, at least your one's still warm. The implication is gross, to say the least.
Ooh, the alternative implication as well, yeah.
Well, I think the straight-up implication is what they're going to do with the corpses, which is not pleasant.
Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, they're even going to fuck the cold one.
Oh, right, yeah, that didn't even cross my fucking mind, that was also the implication. My skin's crawling.
Oh, yeah.
Don't fucking fuck dead things.
Yeah, don't fuck the cold one.
No, don't kidnap people, kill them, and then do things to them.
No.
I can't believe that's something that has to be said.
Don't do any of those things. Don't kidnap people, don't kill them, and don't do things to them. Definitely don't do all three.
Moving on.
Yeah, you spend the majority of the game fixing issues with each faction so you can get their elites added to your army for the final battle. And because, yeah, there actually are a few problems around the world. The Darkspawn are a problem, and the world has problems. They have a corrupted dragon called the Archdemon leading them, and yes, they are an army, because they were there to kill all your guys. Your other party members include Big Grey Lad Sten, redheaded French bard Liliana, cool old lady mage Wynn, stereotypical drunken dwarf berserker Ogren, Shale the Golem, who hates pigeons because they shit on her, and Zevran, the Spitalian assassin sent to tie up loose ends, and Dog the Dog.
I was very worried you might not say Dog the Dog.
Yeah, Dog the Dog. He is actually a party member at the beginning if you're a human noble, otherwise you find a different dog.
Yeah, you get to skip an entire quest if you're the human noble because you just have the dog.
Yeah, it's your dog if you're a human noble. But yeah, the dogs in this, the Mabari, they're meant to be super intelligent and immune to the taint. Very useful for this game. Dog is also very good until about level 8 or 9 when he stops getting talents. He's basically just a warrior with the serial numbers filed off.
Yeah, dude, I've never got a dog in my party. My dog is in my party for... In fact, I could tell you when dog leaves on party. That's when we reach the first town.
Yep. When you've got a fourth party member that's not dog.
I like dogs. The dog is the dog and the dog is a puppy. But he also can't equip weapons. Well, he gets a collar and he gets paint. And neither of them are going to be as good as, I don't know, a great sword and a full set of gear plus rings.
Yeah. He gets his stat sticks.
Like, Shale also gets stat sticks, but Shale's useful.
Yeah, Shale has useful abilities outside of having stat sticks to shove them in. But yeah, after dealing with Uncle Scar in the Court of Law to your choice of outcome, the final stretch is you spearheading your mini army against the Archdemon, getting told that if a Grey Warden kills it, they both super die, otherwise the Archdemon just reincarnates immediately into a nearby Darkspawn body.
This is the reason why you always fuck the best character anyway.
Oh yeah. That's a way to avoid choosing your sacrifice, is to get Morrigan pregnant.
Morrigan's design is yum.
Yeah, I think the designer says she's dark chocolate.
I don't know what that means, but sure.
In terms of being bitter and overall sweet, but she's kind of an acquired taste and very, very dark.
I don't think I've ever had dark chocolate that's tasted sweet.
Okay. You've not had Bourneville then.
I guess not. I've had dark chocolate before, but it's always been more bitter than anything else. It's weird. I like dark chocolate. I just don't find it sweet.
Compared to milk chocolate, obviously, yeah. So Awakening picks up where Origins left off, being almost a whole game, but they weren't cheeky enough to charge full game price for it.
I think they were actually very good in that. I believe they charged exactly half price from the base game.
Yeah, it's basically DLC price for something that can stand alone on its own as a game, but probably shouldn't.
Well, it can, because if you want to, you can play the game straight away and you play as an Orlesian.
Yeah, you do. That's one of the things you can do. You can just choose not to import a save file, then you just get an Orlesian Warden.
Which no one recommends you do, but you can.
Yeah. If you import your guy, then you get all the specializations that you had before, and you can buy the ones that you didn't unlock.
Yeah, but by the time I got to Awakening, I'd already played the game to death, so I had everything unlocked by then.
It was also neat that things were tied to achievements, so if you'd done the Reaver quest and done the bad thing, then you had Reaver for all of your warriors from then on.
I mean, case in point, I save scummed that because I'm like, I'm not evil.
Yeah, I don't like this person, I think he should die. Now that I've save scummed the alternate timeline in which I was an asshole, now I'm going back and being a good guy.
Pretty much, man. I think I've said this before on the podcast. Whenever I have the option to control a character's morality, I am lawful good. Sometimes I'm chaotic good because the law's a piece of shit.
Yeah. It's one of those. Whenever I'm given the option, I normally am chaotic good.
I tend to lean more towards chaotic good or neutral good because, hey, guess what? I don't like regimes.
Yeah.
Like, you can be lawfully good and still be a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad I managed to jog my memory. One of the things I love about Origins is you can play a fucking evil character.
Yeah, you can.
Now, the only reason why you're still a hero is because, hey, guess what? If the Darkspawn win, you die.
Yeah, you're pointed at Armageddon, and yeah, you're still an arsehole, you're still a piece of shit. You can even get certain characters to pretty much leave.
Yeah.
Just by how evil you are.
You can murder Zevran without even talking to him.
Yeah, you can. Same with Sten. I think one of the things you can do is insert your sword into his cage.
That one is actually more evil than the Zevran thing. The Zevran thing, like, in the heat of the moment, this fucker tried to kill me. I'm getting rid of this problem. But with Sten, it's just like, here's this guy in a cage. He's a bit mopey, and he's content to die. Oh, well, I'll speed things up, because fuck him, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, Awakening.
Yeah. Your starter companion is the new sacrificial lion for the purpose of showing you that the joining can fail. You have Oghren waving real enthusiastically to join up because now the tutorial is done. Doubling down on joining the Grey Wardens, being a get out of jail free card, you conscript arrested runaway mage Anders and wannabe assassin Nathaniel.
Who is a great fucking addition to the cast.
Anders is great.
Until halfway through 2.
Nathaniel is son of the actual villain of the main game, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. He thinks that you've murdered Howe in cold blood, not realising that he was a piece of shit.
Yeah, Nathaniel was a interesting concept for a character.
Yeah, and he shows up again later and he's basically already had his super face turned by then. You get to see his character development. It's one of those where the best place for an enemy is right next to you so you can see exactly what they're doing, and by the time of the end of the game comes, he's no longer an enemy because he's realised that, yeah, the person that he idolised wasn't that good of a person. I think his grandfather went to join the Grey Wardens, never came back, and now he realises that, he might not have survived the joining, and like he idolises his grandfather.
Well, here's the thing as well, even when Nathaniel's introduced, he makes it very clear that he doesn't actually hate you. He's not a fan of you, and he's just trying to get a bit of his legacy back, as it were.
Yeah, because you're essentially squatting in his house.
Not really though, is it? Because the Crown was very explicit in giving the Grey Wardens the estate.
Yeah. But punishment for what Al Howe did, where he was squatting in your house if you're a human noble, that family still existed. It's just that the person that would become the player character just died along the way because Duncan went somewhere else. Your choice of origin is basically choosing where Duncan goes.
Absolutely. One of the things I like as well is how often your origin actually gets referenced during certain things. Like, for example, with Nathaniel showing up, if you're the human noble, you don't have to ask his name.
Oh, yeah. It's quite telling because you probably did know each other as kids.
I mean, you did, like, for all intents and purposes, Rendon Howe was a piece of shit, but your families were still, I'm using fucking air quotes, close.
He's like, you know when you have a fake uncle who's not your uncle? He was basically that.
You gotta remember, the Howes were vassals to the Couslands. Now, don't forget, your dad, if you're the noble, is the same rank as the dude you go save in Redcliffe.
Yeah, Arl Amon. So yeah, we touched on it a bit, but yeah, while Uncle Scar was the face of it, he wasn't that bad of a guy. He just thought the very real empire next door was more important than the potential evil monsters from below. It didn't help that both of them were true. It's just the Orlesians weren't actually planning to invade right now.
Well, it's even worse than that, because if you do the DLC, which sends you back to the encampment at the beginning of the game, you find a letter to Kaelin from the Empress of Orlais, where he was planning on ditching his fucking missus to marry her to secure an alliance.
And his missus being Loghain's daughter.
In fact, if you have Loghain in your party at the time, he even reads it and goes, "That bastard!"
Yep. One of the things you can do is recruit him as his punishment for being an arsehole.
It's one of those things as well where it's something the game does pretty well, and that is the harsh lesson to Alistair. This thing that he's idolised for so long, Grey Wardens, isn't actually the noble group that he thinks they are. A lot of their recruits are usually prisoners or people who were destined for the gallows, which actually, come to think of it, is very Game of Thrones.
The other companions for Awakening, alongside Anders, Nathaniel and Oghren, are Justice, who's a non-evil spirit possessing a corpse,
By accident.
Yeah, blonde elf Morrigan Villana.
I wish you could at least flirt with her a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think there's any romance in Awakening.
You can't, it's impossible, no one's interested. Which is fine, but I like a bit of romance in the party.
Yeah, and you got Sigrun, who's an unbelievably happy Legion of the Dead scout.
My days, if we're talking about romanceable people, I would love to have a romanceable, huggy relationship with this dwarf. I don't think there is a romanceable dwarf in all of Dragon Age.
No, I think you're the only one.
You can flirt with the scout in Inquisition.
Yeah, it never goes anywhere. Scout Harding.
People on the forum used to be like, oh yeah, typical so-and-so getting preferential treatment again, so-and-so being Liara's voice actress. People suspect the only reason you could flirt with Harding is because she was voiced by Liara.
Then again, Shepard's voice actors were a bartender and one of the members of both Chargers.
But could you flirt with them?
No. There isn't actually much of a plot to Awakening other than the fact that after the Archdemon is dead, there's a bit of a power vacuum within the Darkspawn architecture. Speaking of architecture, there's the Architect. He's a super Darkspawn super dude. He's a scientist with a brain, compared to normal Darkspawn who are voiceless and at best will go kek la kek.
Yeah, it's very weird, because they seem to never readdress this point ever again after this game.
Yeah, because it seems like Darkspawn being able to talk is a big deal, which it happens right at the beginning, because the Architect has made this Darkspawn and sent it to you to say a thing and then die, as a kind of disposable messenger. But what the Architect is actually trying to do is break Darkspawn away from Archdemon control.
Which isn't very clear.
It's not.
You need to read a lot of codex entries to gather that information.
Yeah, because if he just told you that, then you'd probably have an easier time of letting him live at the end, which is something you can do. The other big bad duumvirate person in this is the Mother. So you got the Architect and the Mother. The Architect made the Mother. The Mother is completely irredeemable and can't be saved.
If you think the Mother is worth saving, you've not been paying attention.
Yep.
The Mother is just a brood mother that can also talk.
Yeah, and she don't have a lot of sanity.
Can you blame her? My days, a broodmother's existence is sheer agony and disgust and pain.
Yeah. I think the thing that she can do, she's got like a psychic link to her children, so when she screams, they feel it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't want to dwell on it for too long, but fuck, they really go into a lot of detail in Dragon Age Origins about how a broodmother is made.
Yeah, they show how evil one of the characters is by showing how willing she is to let someone else become a broodmother, just to see how it happens.
I don't even think that was it. I think that, I believe her name is Branka, I might be misremembering.
Yeah, it was Ogren's wife.
It was a bit more fucked up than that, because I don't think she actually cared about the broodmother thing. She was like, she needs to get past this, and the only way she could see of getting past was, I know, I've got these loyal servants who are sworn to die for me. Here you go, Darkspawn, make these into whatever. I've got things to investigate, including someone who was allegedly her lover.
Yeah, and then the idea was, if they become broodmothers, they can, like, shit out Darkspawn, and then she can throw the Darkspawns at the wall until there's enough bodies to climb over it.
I don't think that was necessarily the implication, but that woman was evil.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing that I don't think they ever bring up ever again, because I think they quickly got rid of it because of how hard it is to get a Kunari, where the little Darkspawn are made by dwarf broodmothers, the tall Darkspawn are made by elves or humans, the big ogres are made by Kunari.
Yep, the elves become the Shriekers. The reason there's fewer Shriekers is because elves have lower constitution and just don't survive getting corrupted.
Hey, guess what? That's a fucking mercy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time you kill a broodmother, you are technically performing a mercy killing.
Every time you kill any Darkspawn, it's a mercy killing.
Broodmothers have it particularly rough, and they were originally not that.
All broodmothers started as living, breathing people. But yeah, you get to choose not to kill the Architect.
Here's a pro tip for everyone. Learn which party members are okay with what decision, otherwise this is going to be very depressing. If you decide to spare the Architect, Sigrun is not okay with that. If you decide to kill the Architect, Velena definitely is not okay with that, because you also have to kill her sister.
Yep.
So don't bring either of them along, depending on what decision you're going to make.
You also have to fight, like, paper doll copies of your party that he's made during his quest.
Yeah, maybe during the quest, but not during the trying to murder him stage.
If you go down his quest line, he kidnaps you all, puts you all in a dungeon, strips you to your skivvies, and gives all your equipment to some paper dolls.
Oh, yeah, but they're just regular Darkspawn.
Yeah, but the idea is that, yeah, if he sacrifices you to them, then you can give them your intelligence.
If you have at least one mage in your party, it's laughably inconsequential that you don't have your gear.
Yep.
Which, by the way, you're playing Dragon Age. If you don't have at least one mage in your party, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. When I was doing the Deep Roads, my go-to tactic was, me be a mage, bring Morrigan and Wynn, and have triple-hasted bees, because they're so fast and get through the Deep Roads so quickly.
Bees, not the bees!
The thievery system didn't require a rogue.
Thievery, yes, but not picking locks.
Oh, yeah, because pickpocketing and lockpicking were set different things, weren't they?
I have no idea why you'd pickpocket fuck it, if you're a warrior, what a waste of your fucking skill points.
Yeah, it's basically, you want charm, because a lot of the good guy conversation things are charm. So, let's go to our time-honored tradition of, do you have a favourite moment?
My favourite moment is obviously going to be when you finally get to bed Morrigan.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how well they managed to knock it out of the park for romance options in Origins, because it seems like every game after Origins, the choices just get less and less, and they're more boring as well. Like, in Inquisition, I wish there was an option to have a fling with Vivian.
Yeah, but also she's happily married.
Is she, though?
Yeah, you actually get to see her go to her husband.
That's not her husband.
Is it not?
No, she is the... Like, you're talking about the guy who is on his deathbed, right?
Oh yeah, she's the side piece, ain't she?
Yeah, she's not married at all. She's the side piece, and she used him to further her political career. She's not married. She is single as fuck. And it would make sense for her to have a fling with you. She's already done it with someone else who is more powerful than her to try and gain influence.
True, but also, she apparently did legitimately love that guy.
Absolutely, I'm not debating that. I'm just saying the fact that she's okay with having a fling means that, you know...
Yeah, fair enough.
Even if she was in love with him, she was still not legally anything to him. Which is a big deal in Orlais.
Yeah.
Because lots of nobles in Orlais have mistresses, but they're not allowed any power in the relationship.
Apart from Briala, if you do the right thing.
That's the elf paramour for Empress Celine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to get bogged down because that's for later. But yeah, romance options went downhill. Have you got a favourite moment, Rick?
My favourite moment is killing the Archdemon, because you get a really nice cinematic moment of just showing the character that you want to stab the Archdemon, stabbing the Archdemon, and it's cool.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's a pretty decent moment.
Yeah, within the confines of the limitations of the game system, it still looks pretty cool.
I don't think it's as a rewarding moment as getting that sweet sleep time with Morrigan, but hey, different folk.
Even though, like, Morrigan unlocks at Intimacy 1 as opposed to, like, Intimacy 3 like everyone else.
I may be exaggerating a little bit, but I like that moment when she finally breaks her facade of being like, oh, I'm just with you because I like physicality, and it's just like, actually, I kind of want something more, but I don't know how that works, and it's scary.
Yeah, I think that's the reason that she stopped sleeping with you as well. Normally, when you get to, I'm saying Intimacy 3, but this isn't an actual stat, when you get to that point, she stops sleeping with you because she wants to be capricious and assert some control over it, and then she finally gets over that, and it's nice.
She's also not the only character who does that, because Zevran does that as well.
Does he? Okay.
Have you never bedded Zevran?
No.
If you do a romance with Zevran, because he's used to fucking loads of things, because he's kind of a man whore. There's a point where it's like, I kind of want this to be something a bit more than just us two fucking. So he stops fucking you for a while. Dude, the amount of times I've accidentally ended up in a relationship with Zevran. It's very easy to accidentally end up in relationships with characters in Origins, because...
You can flirt without a flirt tag.
Yeah, it's also because they released a DLC very early on, which was free. It was gifts and gags, and the gifts gave you instantly 50% hearts, and it's just like, oh, okay. And they were infinitely rebuyable from the shop.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rick, do you have a MVP?
My MVP is Flemeth. I think she stretches across the entire series. That's why I've got her as the MVP overall.
She's kind of a footnote in 2, but yeah, she's important in 1 and Inquisition, no doubt.
Well, even in 2, she gives you the keys to live past Lothering. Yeah, she is a footnote, but she's a footnote right at the head.
There's no doubt that without her, the story of 2 doesn't happen, but like, she doesn't show up again.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, the fact that she shows up in 2, whether or not you killed her, is a big deal. She's Morrigan's mum. She drives a lot of the plot. She sends Morrigan out into the world to be Morrigan. And yeah, I think she deserves a lot of recognition for that. But how about you? Who's your MVP?
I think I'll give it to Alistair.
Sure.
For all intents and purposes, even though you're the main character, he is the hero. Unless you make certain really silly decisions near the end. Because even if you want to recruit Loghain, if you choose the correct options, you can recruit Loghain and not kill off Alistair.
Yeah, you can essentially have Alistair retire and become a king alongside Honora, which I think is actually one of the best options you can do.
It absolutely is. And the thing I appreciate the most is when Alistair marches into Amaranthine, he's still annoyed at you, but you can tell that he's had time to sort of think and go like, okay, I get it. I'm still not fucking happy about it, but I get it.
So, thank you for joining us along this meandering path. If you would like to leave us a comment, we've got the comment section on YouTube, and if you're listening to us on one of our audio platforms, we have our email address. That's nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. And if you've made it this far, you are our favourite people, and it's going to be goodbye from me.
And don't forget, if a stranger offers you weird liquids, you probably shouldn't drink it. Bye, guys!
Bye!